I hate your whimper.
Welcome to the Shermer High Alumni Association.
I'm Kristin.
I'm Jeannine.
And I'm Carole. And we rewatch movies from the 80s to determine, did that age well?
This week's movie is The Dark Crystal, which we watched as kids thinking it was a fantasy adventure, and we rewatched it as adults realizing it's just genuinely terrifying puppets and deep, deep drama.
Join us as we rewind, rewatch, and remember the decade that shaped.
Hello, sisters.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Carole.
Hello, Jeannine.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Kristin.
Hi, Kristin.
How is it going in Ohio?
Well, every day is just it's just a treat.
A new adventure?
It is. It's a new adventure. We just never really know what's going to happen.
If it's not power outages, it's residual wildfires.
Yeah. Yep. It's fun.
Just want to put a slab of ribs on the patio, see what happens.
See if you could get a nice,
just natural
smoke on them.
Yep. Might try that tomorrow.
I will say that I feel like the smoky scent was worse yesterday than it is today.
For sure. Yeah. Yesterday it was like walking outside to a campfire.
Oh, yeah. I was like
in a good way or a bad way?
The smell, but then like very, very...
Campfire smells nice.
Not for 24 hours.
Okay.
I agree. I thought it was lovely in the morning. This is refreshing. Then not so much by 3 p.m.
Because you couldn't even breathe.
Right. It's like, okay, then now it's starting to make my stomach hurt.
Is it hot?
It's humid.
Yeah. 80s, high 80s. Hot enough.
How's the weather in Nantucket, Kristin?
70 and sunny.
Wow. Lucky you.
We're getting great sunsets from it.
We're getting really weird wildfire sunsets from that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally Tatooine. Absolutely.
In the morning here, that's what we're getting.
Yeah. I think Tavia got some pictures last night. It was like
Tattoo.
crazy good. Yeah.
Pink sun.
Yeah. So I had downloaded this so how did I watch this? I watched this on Amazon Prime because I own it. Why do I own it?
Why do you own it?
This was Alana's favorite movie as a toddler.
This is concerning. This is
very concerning.
Really concerns me.
Very concerning. She used to walk through the house and she would make that noise that the Chamberlain made constantly. Mm-hmm. She would do it all the time.
Have you talked to her about this recently? Does she even remember?
She does. I did ask her to be on the pod. She had a lot to say about this movie. But yeah, this is one of her near and dear to her heart movies.
Does she remember the plot? Has it grown with her through the years?
I think she does remember the plot because she told me a lot of stuff that...
Who introduced her to this movie?
Yeah.
It had to have been me. Who else would have done it?
Dad?
No. Barrett got her into the anime stuff. He got her into Spirited Away and that weird shit. I think it would have been me with Dark Crystal, honestly. But yeah, so we owned it on Prime. So I just had to pull it up.
Wow. That's something to be proud of. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And so I had every intention to watch this on our way out east, but that never happened. And then we did watch it the other night, but I didn't take notes because I was so busy doing this. So I started doing notes yesterday, but then I just couldn't do it anymore. I could not explain this movie anymore. So I restarted this morning and I'm like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to be able to tell this story. And then today I was able to push through and do it. So
I did not envy you picking this movie.
Me
Why?
too.
Because I'm watching it, I'm like, I could not explain this movie.
I
I
know.
couldn't even retell it. Kudos to you.
It's
Looking
hard.
forward to that.
You get a gold star on your name tag.
You do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This is an interesting one. And it's also our episode 53.
Happy episode 53.
We're really getting there.
Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
are.
We've been a little lackadaisical with some encores, but that's just because we're busy people.
It's summer.
Yeah. Things happen. But here we are with a very uplifting film
Yeah. A real feel-good movie here.
for our listener. So in case you're not sure about this, let me give you a little briefing. Jen was raised by the noble race called the Mystics and has been told that he is the last survivor of his own race, the Gelflings. He sets out to try to find a shard of the Dark Crystal, a powerful gem that once provided balance to the universe. After the crystal was broken, the evil Skeksis used sinister means to gain control. Jen believes that he can repair the Dark Crystal and bring peace back to the world if he can only find the remaining shard. So now to give a background on, we will get into, this is a Jim Henson movie. We'll get into that. But some background on how this all came to be. The spiritual kernel of the Dark Crystal is heavily influenced by Seth, meaning Seth material that is based on the principle that consciousness creates matter, that each person creates their own reality through thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. I've always felt that the idea of perfect beings split into a good mystic part and an evil materialistic part, which are reunited after a long separation, is Jim Henson's response to the teachings of the book. Jim admitted that he didn't understand the book himself and that everyone would understand it, or not understand it, in their own way. But he thought it opened up a whole different way of looking at reality, which I think was one of his goals in the making of the Dark Crystal. And that was said by screenwriter David Odell. So I thought it was interesting to get into how did this come to be?
I had read somewhere, I don't know if it's here in the notes or not, but that Jim Henson was interviewed on this and he wanted to get back to Aesop's fables
Yes.
before they were Disney-fied,
Uh-huh.
right?
Did
Back
read
to the actual fables and how they actually occurred.
Yes.
I mean, there was a lot of darkness and death and gore and all that stuff before it became all princesses and princes and all that, which I really appreciated that statement of getting back to the fables as they were originally.
Yes.
So we've got Jim Henson. James Maury Henson was born on September 24th in 1936, and he passed away on May 16th of 1990. He was an American puppeteer, creative producer, filmmaker, and director who achieved worldwide notability as the creator of The Muppets. Henson was also well known for creating Fraggle Rock, Carole's favorite.
Yeah.
From 1983 until 87, and as the director of The Dark Crystal in 82 and Labyrinth in 1986, as well as creating the Muppets for Sesame Street in 1969 to the present. Henson died in New York City from toxic shock syndrome caused by invasive strep.
Oh,
That was interesting to research,
that
actually.
sounds awful.
Yeah, it's basically a bacteria that you can't cure from strep A.
Yikes.
Yeah.
There's only a way to get toxic shock syndrome, but we won't get into that. At the time of his death, he was in negotiations to sell his company to the Walt Disney Company, but talks fell through after his death. He was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1991 and was named a Disney legend in 2011. Jim plays Jen, the high priest, and the emperor in this film, though he does not do their voices.
And that's one thing to discern is that the characters in this film are all people in them or people.
They have a puppeteer and they have a voice.
Yeah, but like some of the creatures, like the creatures all have people inside the costumes.
Right.
But Jen and Kira are puppets. So, I mean, everyone has like a human to act them out, but there's no voice work done in the actual filming. That's all done after. So that's why we have the people, and then we'll get to voices.
Yes.
So we also have Catherine Mullen, who was born February 10th, 1940, and she is an American puppeteer, actress, and voice actress most closely associated with Jim Henson projects. Mullen began performing on The Muppet Show in its third season, primarily as Gaffer, the backstage cat, and she also directed Dog City for Nelvana, worked as a designer for the Muppet movie, right-handed for Frank Oz as Yoda on The Empire Strikes Back, and was one of the creators of Between the Lions. While reprising Gaffer for several Muppet movies, she also performed and Cotter Pindoozer on Henson's Fraggle Rock. She performed the Gelfling Kira in this movie, The Dark Crystal, Allegra on Allegra's Window, and Leona, the lion on Between the Lions. Mullen, with her husband, former Muppet designer Michael Frith, founded No Strings along with emergency aid worker Johnny McGlade. The company originally created a film for children in Afghanistan, warning of the dangers of landmines. In 2016, No Strings was awarded the 2016 Adela Dwyer St. Thomas of Villanova Peace Award from Villanova University. Catherine plays Kira in this film, and again, not her voice.
We have Frank Oz, born Frank Richard Osnowitz on May 25th of 1944, is known professionally as Frank Oz. He is an American puppeteer, a filmmaker, and an actor. He is best known for his involvement with Jim Henson and George Lucas through the Muppets, Sesame Street, and Star Wars, as well as his directional work in feature films and theater. The son of puppeteers, Oz worked as an apprentice puppeteer during his teenage years in Oakland, California. Despite his interest in journalism, he continued his career as a puppeteer when he was hired by the Jim Henson Company in 1963, going on to perform several television characters such as Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal, and Sam Eagle on The Muppet Show.
That's awesome.
I know, from 1976 to 1981, and Cookie Monster, Bert, and Grover on Sesame Street from 1969 to 2013. He was hired by Lucas to perform as Yoda in Star Wars film series. Beginning with The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 and reprising the role in 7 subsequent films and various media for more than 4 decades. Oz is also known for his high-profile work as a filmmaker, having directed the film The Dark Crystal in 1982, The Muppets Take Manhattan in 1984, Little Shop of Horrors in 1986, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels in 1988, What About Bob in 1991, The Indian in the Cupboard in 1995, In and Out in 1997, The Stepford Wives in 2004, and Death at a Funeral in 2007, as well as an episode of Leverage in 2011. Frank plays Aughra and Chamberlain in this film, but not their voice.
He might be the greatest known person of all time.
I know.
We also have Dave Goles, who was born David Charles Goles, July 16th. Happy birthday! Oh my-
Yay!
1946. And he is an American puppeteer and actor. He joined Jim Henson's Muppet team in 1973 and is known for his work with the Muppets, performing the characters Gonzo the Great and Waldorf, and Boober, Fraggle, and Fraggle Rock. In 2002, he was cast as the voice of Figment in the revamped version of Epcot's Journey into Imagination with Figment ride at Walt Disney World Resort. In 2015, Ghouls voiced a subconscious Guard Frank in the Pixar film Inside Out. Over the years, Ghouls has sustained a number of injuries due to physical positions Muppet performers must maintain for extended periods while contorting into small spaces. These injuries,
Workers' comp.
have resulted in 4 shoulder surgeries and a hip replacement. And Dave plays Fizzgig and the General in this film, and not their voices.
Now we can talk about who actually did the voices.
Yes.
So Jen's voice is Stephen Garlick. The High Priest and the Emperor are Jerry Nelson. Kira is Lisa Maxwell. Augra is Billy Whitelaw. Chamberlain is Barry Denon. Fizzgig is Percy Edwards. And the General is Michael Kilgariff.
So this was released December 18th, 1982 in the U.S. It's such a wonderful Christmas film. It's so good.
It really is. It encapsulates the season really well.
The joy and the heartwarmingness. Yes, I love it. It was then released February 17th, 1983 in the UK. The film was shot at Elstree Studios from April to September 1981 with exterior scenes. Yeah. Good month to be born. And the exterior scenes were shot in various locations, including the Scottish Highlands, Goredale Scar, North Yorkshire, and Twycross.
Good try.
A for effort. Which, after being in Ireland, now I realize that it's probably not pronounced anywhere near
that.
Right. It's probably Leicestershire. Leicestershire or something like that. And you're like, what?
Or it's probably
like, right.
Anyway, once filming was completed, the film's release was delayed after Lou Grade sold ITC Entertainment to Robert Holmes A. Court, who was skeptical of the film's potential due to the bad reactions at the preview and the need to revoice the film's soundtrack. The film was afforded minimal advertisement and released until Henson bought the film rights from Holmes and funded its release with his own money. That's nuts. A little tidbit.
Crazy.
Dang.
Yeah.
And this had a budget of $25 million.
And you can see it. Yeah.
Holy granola.
There is
100%.
some intricate costumes in this.
Yeah. Scenery. Like,
Scenery, tons of people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did either of you watch that YouTube I sent you on the making of the film?
Oh, no, but I wish I did.
I watched part of it.
Yeah,
Oh.
it took a lot of freaking
Yeah.
people.
I bet, yeah, the puppetry,
Nuts.
I can't even imagine. And even the tiny, tiny, tiny pieces and parts, like in the,
Right.
the bee scenes or whatever, walking around, the little animals, that also
Yeah.
required puppeteering, like crazy.
Even like the plants when they were like breathing and stuff,
Right.
like that all required people. So
And this brought in 41.4 million.
Good job.
So I mean,
it did pretty
Yeah.
well.
good job, Dark Crystal.
it made some money. And if for some reason it has a cult following.
What do you mean for
yes.
some reason?
We'll get into reviews. but
Okay.
this was rough.
So rough. Okay.
We just need a photo of Jeannine to add. And then we can just do like a photo of all of our reactions watching this movie.
That's true, because we have me and you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to get into it?
Ready.
Are you a PJ girly like me? I love a good PJ.
I completely embody lazy girl weekends and am very particular about my cozy clothes. That's probably why I own 3 of Cozy Earth's bamboo sleep dresses. These sleep dresses are buttery soft, breathable, and most importantly, for those of a certain age, moisture wicking. I work and travel and find myself on flights quite often. Cozy Earth's bamboo jogger set is also made of that same soft, breathable, moisture wicking material and is the perfect travel day ensemble. Cozy Earth's products are a favorite among celebrities. For 7 consecutive years, Oprah included Cozy Earth on her favorite things list. And the brand has been featured on Good Morning America, InStyle, and Better Homes and Gardens. Customers echo this love with thousands of 5-star reviews. With free shipping on orders over $100, a 100-night sleep trial, and a 10-year warranty, Cozy Earth will bring lasting luxury and comfort into your home. Visit cozyearth.com and use code SHAWPODCAST, SHAA podcast at checkout and get 30% off your first order. By doing this, you help us earn a commission that supports us and the show. We open the movie with the score that was composed by Trevor Jones, and it begins over the Universal logo. We get the first shot of the movie of the Skeksis castle. It's in the distance and surrounded by rocky sort of desert terrain and dark clouds above. Lightning flashes come across from the cracks in the ground, like surrounding the castle. And the narrator begins by saying, "Another world, another time in the age of wonder." And they hold that shot of the castle as the narrator continues to tell us that, in so many words, that 1,000 years ago, there was a crystal, a beautiful, whole crystal that held the worlds together. Something happened. A piece broke off. A shard was lost. And out of that break, 2 new races were born, the Skeksis and the Mystics. The Skeksis took the crystal, moved into a castle, and have spent the last 1,000 years using its power to keep themselves alive past their natural years. Now there are only 10 Skeksis left, and their emperor is dying. A new emperor must seize the throne. And I just want to note that, like, way too much time was spent on this scene of the whole, like, crystal whole thing went on about 7 minutes too long. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And there's a few scenes that are like this where it's like, okay,
Enough already.
Yeah.
we get it. Meanwhile, away from the castle, the Mystics are also dying off. The wisest among them is also dying at the same time as the Skeksis emperor, who we will come to see here soon. The Mystics are seen as sort of gentle wizards. They also only have 10 remaining. Skeksis have 10 remaining. The Mystics have 10 remaining. And they start doing this chant. It's very sound bathy. Like you're in a sound bath. Oh, the whole room vibrates. Living with the Mystics is a boy named Jen. Jen is a Gelfling. And as we know, the only remaining one, as the Skeksis wiped out every other Gelfling years ago, hunted them down and killed them, all except Jen, who the Mystics took in and raised. The narrator explains that given this 1,000-year time frame, there lives a prophecy. The world must go through a time of testing to know if good or evil will rule. The master tells Jen there's a prophecy and that he's in danger. Jen is the one who has to find the crystal shard before the 3 suns meet. someone named Aughra is holding on to the shard of the crystal, the missing piece from 1,000 years ago. Jen has to find Aughra, get that shard, and use it to heal the dark crystal before the 3 suns line up in the sky. And if he doesn't make it in time, the Skeksis will rule forever. If he does do it, perhaps there's hope for the world. But Jen doesn't know all of this right away. Back at the Crystal Castle, 2 of the Skeksis meet in the hall, and they literally hiss at each other. And
Like cats.
Like cats. And
Meow.
one says to the other one, I hate your whimper. So they obviously all just get along fine. They walk together back to the Emperor's bed. And the Emperor everyone's just crowding around him. Hey, it's like New York. This is what it made me think of. It made me think of New York when somebody dies. And you're like, holy shit, there's something good came on the market and I'm just going to jump on that real estate. That's what this felt like. All these vultures standing around this emperor. And to give a visual, if you have not seen this movie, these Skeksis are like skeletal bird-like creatures.
They are bird
Vultures.
dragons.
They're like-
birds and vultures.
Okay, yeah, they're vulture dragon things.
And before
So
I
they're not-
learned that, I thought that they were very turkey-like.
Turkey
vultures.
vultures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tavia loves turkey vultures. And this emperor who's just like bone. Not even skin and bones. He was just like bone. He's like, bone still emperor. Dies. This is the most hilarious scene where he just parts just start to fall off of him and he starts to crumble into dust and then just disappears.
Yeah, I just started laughing.
It was so funny. But also it was like, I watched this as a fucking child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That for a child, I would imagine it's horrifying.
Oh my God. At the same time, concurrently, Jen's master also dies, but he peacefully evaporates. The mystics hold a ritual and they also bless Jen on his forthcoming journey. We now see a lot of Scottish Highland shots where Jen is kind of traversing the land. Back with the Skeksis, 2 of the Skeksis actually start fighting over who gets to be the new emperor. There's Skeksil, the Chamberlain, the one who makes the weird noises, right? And then there's the general. The Chamberlain goes for the scepter and calls the general a spithead. So that's a name you can call people spithead. You're a spithead. They end up doing this ritual called trial by stone. And basically they have these 2 sword-looking things. And there's a black stone. And so the general calls the Chamberlain a whimpering worm. So their weapon seems to be name calling each other. I don't know what else it is. But the general hits the stone with the sword and everyone's like really like jacked about that. And then the Chamberlain has the sword. The general eventually chops down the stone. And somehow that makes him the new emperor. And in that, the Chamberlain gets stripped of his title and apparently all of his clothes. And he's just screaming. And he is banished from that inner circle. The Skeksis are called to the crystal chamber where they come to discover that a Gelfling is alive. And they just lose their shit. There's a prophecy that says a Gelfling will destroy the Skeksis. So the new emperor immediately sends out these lobster armadillo beetle things called Gartham to hunt Jen down. So there's a story behind that. I don't remember the name of the guy who did a lot of the design on this. Maybe a David something, but it was the inspiration from this came from a lobster dinner that him and Jim Henson had had. And from the leftover lobster carcass is what his inspiration was to create these Gartham.
Ew.
Jen is walking the land and is just actively talking to himself. But he does eventually find Agra, who is super hard to describe. They enter a room.
She reminds me of Miss Piggy.
Yes.
Or E.T. Like a combo of Miss Piggy and E.T.
Interesting.
If Miss Piggy and E.T. had a baby.
She does look like E.T. dressed up after this. So I will agree with you on that.
Thank you.
Miss Piggy.
Miss
Miss
Piggy.
Piggy.
Yeah, all right. So
Yeah.
Jen and Agra enter a room full of these floating moons, planets, stars, and suns, which she refers to as the Great Conjunction. She confirms the prophecy that Jen kind of knows, and also confirms that this great conjunction of the suns is coming. And Jen is there to get a shard, and she just sort of says, all right, here's a lot of shards. At that time, the mystics start doing their whole sound bathing, and Jen starts to play his flute. And in that, the shard reveals itself. But before Agra can explain what to do with it, the Gartham show up and attack Agra's home. The mystics have now been spiritually called back to the castle. They know it is time to return. And it's worthy to note, there's a lot of scenes in this movie where nothing is happening. It's literally just set and music. And during this period, I think it was a pretty high budget on this movie, but you see it. You see it created. And it was in this area where it was like, wow, there was a lot of work put into this set design. There's a creature that scares Jen, and he ends up falling into the mud. It is then that he sees and meets another Gelfling. She goes to help him out of the mud, and as their hands touch, they telepathically start to communicate with one another.
This reminded me of Popeye meeting his dad.
Oh my God.
They're like looking at each other. You look just like me.
Oh my God. Good one, Carole. Oh my
Thank you.
God.
Thank you.
So they're like doing this whole weird mind thing of stuff. How, they recall this war and how they survived and how the girl was taken in by the podlings and Jen was taken in by the mystics. And then they part hands. Like somehow Kira's not able to get him out of the swamp. And so she I don't know how to describe this, but she's got this little friend, Nebri. It's just kind of this mossy
Potato bug. A giant potato bug.
Potato koi fish.
Yeah.
That kind of like gets Jen out of the situation. But the item to note here is that Kira is able to just make crazy ass sounds and animals hear her. Now we're in a scene where Caesar like at dinner, where they're having a feast. One of them calls the other a slime face. You slime face. Fantastic. They're eating all around. It's just disgusting. It's just it is disgusting. And the scene is so long. It is so long. The Gartham return with a bag of somebody, and it ends up being Agra, not the Gelfling. And she's pissed. She's like, calls them putrid lizards. She punches a Gartham and she sits and it looks like she's just pooping.
That's exactly what I was like. Is she just about to take a dump? And
Now, she did it in a previous scene, which I didn't
Yes.
notice until today. Because any other time I've seen this movie, I'm like, she just sat down and took a shit.
yes,
Hands down.
Maybe
she's
she
pooping.
did.
Even Tavia said that. She was like, is she pooping? But she continues to just berate these Skeksis. And soon after, they release these crystal bats to go find the Gelfling. Jen and Kira and Fizzgig. I don't think we've mentioned Fizzgig before, but Fizzgig is like Aunt Lee's dog, but brown.
he's like Rolf from the Muppets.
Sure. Okay. But like tiny and fluffy and adorable. And Tavia would like a Fizzgig t-shirt.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to make her one, please go ahead. And so Jen and Kira and Fizzgig head towards the Podling village where Kira was raised. And Kira is singing this tune, but it's like the way she's singing this tune is the exact way our dad would sing this tune, as if he was making fun of the way this tune was being sang. Does that make sense? So she didn't sound, it was like, oh, like it wasn't serious.
Yeah, kind of. I get what you're
Dad
saying.
was imitating somebody doing this.
Yes.
That's what she sounded like. Okay. Jen plays its flute, and Kira sees the crystal bats, and Kira just has like some like full string concoction that she just throws up and like
corrals. It corrals the crystal bat.
excuse me. Okay. But so it gets the crystal bats and it downs them. It doesn't kill them, but they are downed and they're like in the swamp. And she doesn't think, and she explains to Jen what the crystal bats are, that they're basically these cameras into the Skeksis world and they can see everything they're doing. She doesn't think they've been spotted.
Drones of 1981.
Yeah, they're like bat drones.
Oh my God, bat drones.
Crystal bat drones.
Bat drones.
Yes.
She doesn't think they were spotted, but you can tell in that scene they were. They arrive in the Podling village and they are happy and it's cute and they have a little party and they dance and it's a vibe. And in that, Jen explains the prophecy to Kira, but later into the evening, the Gartham arrive and destroy everything. They capture the Podlings, but Jen and Kira escape, but not before being seen by the Chamberlain. Along the way, Jen and Kira duck into some ruins, old Gelfling ruins, abandoned and worn down. Inside, they find ancient writing carved into the walls in the old Gelfling language. And it lines up with a prophecy that says something along the lines of, when the triple sun shines as one, what was broken and split apart shall be made whole again, but only by Gelfling hands, not by anyone else. And the Chamberlain appears and he just scares the shit out of them. He claims to be there wanting peace and that they should come back to the castle to help make peace. And he starts to do this sort of weird hypnotizing to Jen, but Kira stops it. And again, they escape. They head to the castle. They're heading towards the castle. And Kira uses her animal voice to call these like weird bugs on stilts to take them. They go fast, but literally, I think they could have walked.
I kept looking at that going, okay, so when are they going to go fast?
I know. Like,
When does it get fast?
Are they going to start flying? Like,
yeah, it was like, wait, what?
I think they
They're-
could have just walked at a quick pace.
Yeah, I feel like those that just because they had long legs, they had bigger stride. But
Yeah,
it wasn't
looks like they actually had some difficulties.
but it was like, you're not galloping, you're not running. What are you doing? That's not fast.
So the Skeksis have some of the podlings, and they're going to drain their essence and then make them slaves. Podling is pointed to the dark crystal, and their essence is drained through this crystal to eyeball laser thing. And the general drinks it, and he momentarily becomes young and I guess good looking, only to immediately turn old again. Jen and Kira observe some of the Gartham with a bucket of podlings, and they go to fight them off with these stilt bugs. And it doesn't go great. They get to the castle, and we also see that the mystics had been called. I don't know if I mentioned that before. The mystics had been called back to the castle spiritually. Once Jen and Kira are inside the walls, the Chamberlain intercepts them and tries to capture them. Jen hits him with the crystal, and it causes damage to his hand. And at that same time, damage occurs to the hand of one of the mystics. The Chamberlain destroys a ceiling thing and buries Jen under rubble and captures Kira. And he brings her before the new emperor, where the emperor commands that they drain her essence and then kill her because she's Gelfling and she cannot remain alive. And so
This whole process of draining the essence just, ugh.
I don't know how to I don't know how to put that into another context.
Right. It was bizarre.
Like, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. So I don't know.
She was like draining your soul.
Yeah, like just like taking your spirit away.
Yeah.
As they are draining her, Aughra tells Kira to call the animals, which she actually is able to do. The animals go apeshit. And in that, a Skeksis dies, and then we see that also a mystic has died. The three suns are lining up in the sky exactly as the prophecy said. As Jen makes it closer to the crystal chamber, he comes face to face with Aughra again, who's being held prisoner there. The mystics arrive to the castle, and Jen finds the dark crystal. The Skeksis begin to gather around the crystal, and fucking Fizzgig gives up Kira.
Come on, Fizzgig.
Yeah, you're supposed to be her homie.
Bruh.
Understand the assignment.
Yeah. The Gartham attack again, and Jen jumps over towards the crystal like a monkey. Fizzgig tries to ward off the Skeksis from getting the shard Jen dropped, and the Skeksis throws Fizzgig down a hole. Kira flies down to try and maybe save him and or grabs the shard from the ground. She throws the shard to Jen as a Skeksis kills her. Jen fits the shard back into the dark crystal at the exact moment that the three suns align, but he doesn't care about it. He goes to Kira, who's lying on the ground, while the Garthams and the Skeksis begin to disintegrate. And the mystics arrive into the crystal realm right at that moment and begin to surround the crystal. Aughra is walking around somewhere, and she happens to see Fizzgig hanging on for dear life, and she saves him. But as she's saving, she's just kind of poking him. She's just like, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" Just poke, poke. The mystics surround the crystal, and the castle is crumbling, but not really. That it's crumbling, but that it's not like disintegrating. It's morphing into something else. And the mystics are summoning the Skeksis to them, and they absorb into each other and become ghost deities. And they say, and now the prophecy is fulfilled. We are again one. She is a part of you, and we are all a part of each other. And Jen holds Kira to him, and Kira comes back to life. They are left with the crystal of truth. And to make your world in its light, the ghost deities ascend to the heavens, and we cut to a shot of the highlands with the palace, which is now crystal, seen.
Do you think
That happened.
Do you think that the Crystal Palace has crystal bats?
Like the crystal bats that Kira knocked down?
Yeah, is that where they come from?
Maybe. But isn't the Crystal Palace the name of a restaurant at Disney?
Yeah, yeah. The Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace is located on Main Street, USA, in the Magic Kingdom.
So it's in Florida.
Dine in a Victorian splendor in this greenhouse-inspired Crystal Palace. Ideally set on Main Street, USA. Join Winnie the Pooh and friends for a whimsical, all-you-care-to-enjoy buffet breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Lovely.
I would thoroughly enjoy that.
Crystal Palace. You can enjoy that at Walt Disney World. So is that what it became? Was just a restaurant at Disney World?
Yeah.
Do you think Kira and Jen work there?
Yeah.
Wow.
We know Kristin owns this. Jeannine, where did you watch this?
That's a great question. I think on Sling.
Okay. I unfortunately watched it on Pluto.
Ugh.
Yeah. Way too many commercials. It just drew it out way too long. So yeah, I would have preferred to watch it without commercials, but you can watch it pretty much everywhere for free, except of course Apple and Fandango will charge you, and you need to have subscriptions to most apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So IMDb gave this a 7.1 out of 10. I feel like that's the only rating all of these movies get.
I know.
Yeah.
Like
It's really
there's no
weird.
variation.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
And a meta score of a 66 being generally favorable, and a user score of 7.4. These all just seem to be the same.
They really do, honestly. Like,
why did nobody of note review this?
I am finding that as well.
Heck, maybe that's why you didn't put it in.
Maybe.
No one reviewed it.
People did. It's just not like our normal people.
Well, that's okay.
The tomato meter is 78% and the popcorn meter is 81.
Yeah.
Okay. Some reception. And Vincent Canby of the New York Times negatively reviewed the film, describing it as a watered-down J.R.R. Tolkien without charm as well as interest. The LA Times said, unlike many screen fantasies, The Dark Crystal casts its spell from its very first frames and proceeds so briskly that it's over before you realize it. You're left with the feeling that you've just awakened from a dream. Were they watching it on LSD?
Yes.
Probably.
Sorry, go ahead.
The Variety staff gave it a tomato and said, The Dark Crystal, besides being a dazzling technological and artistic achievement by a band of talented artists and performers that could teach a lesson in morality to youngsters at the same time it is entertaining their parents.
So let's talk about that for a second. And I know WAPO and Siskel reviewed it.
Oh.
It is a visually beautiful film.
Yes, the work that went into it is
It-
definitely not unnoticed.
Yeah, like and we'll get this in our reviews of this, but it wasn't like it goes back to Aesop's fables. It goes back to the real core of myths and legends as they were originally told. And the work that Henson and Oz put into this movie, beautiful.
Did we read the Miami Herald one?
I don't think so.
So the Miami Herald said, imagine for a moment Lord of the Rings performed by puppets and hydraulically operated monsters against a background of realistic fantasy, and you have an idea of The Dark Crystal. It's the kind of film that many children may take for granted, but that adults... Wait a minute. It cuts it off. Oh, Christ. Cool.
Where'd you find the Siskel review? I'm not finding it.
Yeah.
I found the 2019 version.
Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune awarded the film 2.5 out of 4 stars, in which he felt the resultant absence of dramatic tension cripples Crystal, which doesn't have much going for it, save for weird characters who look like they just walked in from the bar scene in Star Wars. In fact, a lot of this movie looks like it was ripped off from Star Wars.
Wow.
Discuss.
I see nods to it.
I think they all run in the same group. And I think that
Yeah.
Jim Henson did puppeteering in Star Wars, and Frank, I think they all worked among each other. And I think that if there was some reuse of some concepts, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No, I agree.
Because it's a totally different storyline, totally different characters. I think it's just like a nod, you know?
Yeah. I'm not holding that against them.
No.
Yeah.
Me neither.
But so there's another review from something I've never heard from before. Colin Greenland, reviewing for Imagine magazine, which I've also never heard of, stated that The Dark Crystal is a technical masterpiece with splendid special effects worked by a team 24 strong. It may be that they did well to keep the story simple and then lavish a wealth of detail on it, rather than go for a more complicated fantasy and fail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that feels like this person truly saw the movie.
Yeah.
There wasn't a complicated plot to this. There wasn't crazy pivotal arc to it that got your blood pressure going or anything like that.
I agree.
In 2008, AFI nominated this film for its top 10 fantasy films list. Just saying.
Well, we have all the awards and nominations.
Oh, do we? Oh, we
Yeah.
have those? Okay, great.
So some of the awards and nominations, they were actually, there were 4 wins and 5 nominations. So the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films USA nominated it for Best DVD Classic Film Release, and that was in 2008. It won Best Fantasy Film in 1983 as a Saturn Award. In 1983, it was nominated for Best Special Effects. And in 1983, it was a nominee for Best Poster Art. In the Avoriaz Fantastic Film Festival, Jim Henson was the 1983 winner, the grand prize. It was a nominee for a BAFTA Award for Best Special Visual Effects in 1984, and a Hugo Award nominee for Best Dramatic Presentation in 1983, and the Video Software Dealers Association, they won Most Popular Current Children's Movie.
Wow. What other kid movies were out in 84 that this...
Let's see, what other kid movies were there? The Neverending Story.
And also a great fantasy film.
The Karate Kid. The Last Starfighter and The Muppets Take Manhattan. Wait, The Muppets Take
Bro.
Manhattan came out the same year?
This came out in 82, but this won this award in 84.
Okay, but that's what it was going against.
That's interesting. So this must not, I don't know.
But like in 82, kids movie, E.T. came out in 82. Annie came out in 82. The Secret of Nim came out in 82. The Last Unicorn came out in 82.
That's a lot of good competition there.
Yeah.
And this won that award.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
Things that make you go,
Exactly.
So on the cringe meter, based on my jaw-dropping reaction, the entire movie, I'm gonna go totally cringe. I completely respect and appreciate the puppetry and the artistic genius that went into making this. Just feel like some of it was, it's a fact that it was pretty dark. It saw a lot of the traditional Muppets that we all know and love. I saw that pop up from time to time in some of the characters, but there wasn't too much uplifting about it. And that's what kind of weirded me out. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy, but I did see a lot of symbolism in there, especially in a religious aspect. So that kind of kept me intrigued to see what characters could be portrayed as something else. And I had some things align, which was pretty cool. But yeah, all in all, yeah, I think fantasy films can always age well. It can be remade, and there was nothing offensive to it. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and I plan on never watching this again.
Yeah. So I guess my definition of cringe is like, did they do anything that you went, yikes? The whole movie, I think, was just, I think for me, the reason why my jaw was on the floor was because in my mind as a child, when I saw this, it was so like beautiful and theatrical. And I just remember having very fond thoughts of this movie. And then seeing it now, you're kind of like, what was I thinking? I appreciate Jim Henson. I love everything that he has done. I appreciate the puppetry. I appreciate the costume design. I appreciate, how much hard work went into this film. It's mind-blowing when you think about all the work, the set designs, the just all of it. It's like they don't make movies like this anymore. To build those sets, to build that terrain, to create all of that is just it's amazing. Coming up with a storyline that it gives you this like fantasy world that we don't really think about a lot nowadays. It's pretty cool. And so like as far as my definition of cringe, I always think of things that you think are creepy. Yikes, I can't believe they did that. Um I personally don't think that it was super cringy. I'll give it a kind of, just because of like the where you kind of went, "Oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was when I was a kid." I'm going to just go with kinda.
And for clarity, my definition of cringe is uncomfortable.
Okay. It didn't make me uncomfortable.
Good.
Which is fair for you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't make me uncomfortable. But now that I have seen it at my age, now I will say everybody that I have mentioned this movie to, my husband, my son, my stepson, everybody that I have brought it up to, they're like, "Oh my God, what a great movie." And then after I watched it, I went, why?
Wow.
Why? No, my question is why? Why was it a great movie? What do you remember about it that made it a great movie. And they're like,
Because it was visually stunning.
so the fact that it's visually stunning is fantastic. And I appreciate that. Frank Oz, Jim Henson, everybody that put in such hard work. I love it. I love it. Kudos to you guys. Phenomenal.
The story of is good going to win over evil?
Exactly.
Is evil going to win over good?
Correct.
It's the question of the ages. It's the question of today in the United States.
That is true. Very much. On that note, I don't feel like I need to watch it again. You know,
Convergence of good and evil. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, if it came, I don't know. And now I'm trying to think. If it came on, would I? No, I don't think that I would keep it on for the full movie. No.
I'm going to disagree with both of you.
Okay.
I think that this movie didn't really have any cringe to it. And I don't think I really have to go into why I think that, but I think this is a brilliant movie. And the reason I think it's a brilliant movie is that no one else really before that or within my mind right now after that has really taken children's fables and has made them as accurate as you can make fables be. And that's one of the reasons I brought it up earlier. The reason we love this Myths and Legends podcast is it's these stories that you think you know, but with origins that you don't necessarily know. And so what I appreciate about this is that it is a tale that is not Disney-fied. It's not, it's dark and there's death and there's cunning and there's not a lot of happiness in this movie.
Yeah.
If at all.
I agree with you on this. I do. But I'm also not super in Aesop's fables.
And that's fine.
So I think that maybe without knowing them very well, you wouldn't know that. And so from that perspective, it's maybe hard for some people to appreciate that.
Yeah. And Henson said it. He was like, I want to create something that's true. Not like documentary.
Yeah, and I'm glad that
form.
they didn't make it very cutesy like
Right.
Disney would have. It's more like this is how it would have been if we didn't make it appealing to children, which I get that.
Yeah. There's not a lot of merch coming out of Dark Crystal.
They aren't making a ride out of it.
I love that Henson did this. I love that he was able to get funding for it. I love that him and Frank Oz worked on this. To me, it's not really cringe. I think they could remake this movie. It would all be CGI. All of this was real.
Yeah.
All of this was actual puppeteering. All of this was real scenes.
Yeah. And we appreciate puppets.
We do. I think there's a little green screen in there for some of the far shots, but
yeah,
I don't think there was anything in it that was cringe. I think they could remake it. And I think if I saw it on TV, I absolutely would rewatch it.
Now we know where Alana gets it from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both weird as fuck.
And that's what we love about you.
Yep. Yeah.
And we get the weirdness from our father.
That is true.
Who most definitely introduced us to this movie.
Yep.
That was The Dark Crystal, a movie that kept our jaws on the floor from start to finish. And it turns out that Jim Henson had a very different definition of creepy than most of us.
Join us next week as we leave the Skeksis behind for a movie with significantly fewer vulture monsters and a few more Lords of Death.
Thank you for joining us at the Shermer High Alumni Association. If you've had as much fun as we did, Hit follow, leave a review, and share this episode with your fellow 80s movie lovers. Until next time, be kind and don't forget to rewind.
Bye.